Hello, my name is Jovanka Houska. I'm an international master from England.
And hi there, I'm Grandmaster Simon Williams, and I'm also from England. Good. Well, ladies first, I guess.
Well, first up, Simon and I have known each other since we were kids. So that's like we've already had that history. But we began working together in 2017, I want to say.
I think so.
It was in Gibraltar.
Yeah, my dates are so bad, but our first event was in Gibraltar when we commentated on the Gibraltar competition, which was a lot of fun. We're in the back room there.
Yeah.
But I think Jovanka just told me the first time we played was when we were about 9 years old, which I can't remember at all. So it was a long time ago now. We're pretty ancient. But we've known each other for a long time. And yeah, always been on the chess scene. Jovanka looks a lot different, so do I, but it's what she used to, which is quite funny. But we always try to have fun, so that's the main thing, I think.
Yeah, I think that's actually one of the main things when it comes to commentator duos. I mean, first of all, you've got to have fun. You've got to be on the same page. And I really do believe that when it comes to commentating and co-commentators, you need to make the other one look good.
I mean, and you do a great job at that. Thank
you. Likewise, Simon. It wasn't quite Simon. It was the owner of the hotel, of the organizer of Gibraltar Chess Congress. And he just said, you know, how about commentating? And for years I had said, no, I'm absolutely not going to do it. I don't see how I'm going to be good in front of the camera. And it just so happened that email came just after I'd lost a game at the British Championships. And I was in one of those moods where I was just like, say yes. After all, you're not doing very well with your playing career. So I just said yes. And then, you know, obviously it was going to be working with Simon. And I've known Simon for years. I played on the same team as him. I've always got on really well with him. So that was just a bonus. And then I was so nervous on that first day. And Simon just with his booming voice said, good morning. And that was it. I loved it.
Good fun.
Yeah.
Good fun. Well, I'm like an old man now, 43. I started playing probably when I was like 6 years old, as most people do with their dad. He taught me the moves, and my family played a lot of chess. I started then playing competitions. I didn't play too much in my school, but I'd meet Jovanka at some of these competitions as well. And I remember going to the local chess clubs in the evening, and I quite enjoyed that because I got to stay up late. And you meet these weird old men smoking their pipes, you know, in the chess club. It was really strange. So I was like, wow, you know. And yeah, I just started playing a lot like that. And I guess I fell in love when I was probably like 11 or 12. I was doing a lot of swimming at the time, but I found that chess was much more exciting. And some of the ideas, some of the combinations, I like the artistic side of it. So chess can be a lot of things. It could be like science, it can be, you know, competition, but for me, the artistic side is really nice. So when you see a nice idea, it's like better than seeing a beautiful painting, basically. So for me, that's basically when I fell in love with it. So,
yeah. No, it's a nice story there, Simon. Actually, I have a very similar story to Simon as to how I got into the game. My dad also played, and you know, his dad also played before him, and he really wanted to teach his children how to play chess. So he got my brother, and then somehow or other, I got dragged into this whole thing as well. And then it kind of developed from there. I loved competing, loved winning. I loved winning as quickly as I possibly could. So I had like this little scheme that I hatched up when I was like maybe 5 or 6 years old, that when they would castle, I'd go the other way. And then I would just like pawn storm. And this one like took me through until I was about 8. And then someone defended against that. Shock, horror. And then from there, it just kind of always was a big part of my life, you know, just like Simon said, you know, I used to go every single night to the chess club. I used to play loads of chess. My brother's also a good chess player, so he used to challenge me to a Blitz. And I think it kind of came about from there because my brother was a bit mean and he would tease me a lot. And he would say, you know, I bet you can't win a game against me. And then that really incentivized me to beat him. So that kept on going until I was maybe 20. Then it stopped. Yeah. That's painful. Simon. Oh,
God. The only game...
He's referencing that in our commentary.
Am I allowed to swear? I don't know. The only game I can remember is the last game we played where It was in Jersey, and it was quite recently. And Jovanka, yeah, she fucked me up. Basically.
I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm just laughing because I don't know.
She fucked me up. Excuse my French. Maybe you can beat that. But yeah, okay. But yeah, no, that was the only game I can remember. I can't remember the other 5. How did the other 5 go? Did I win one game? Please tell me I won a game.
I think you won some games. You won on the British in Torquay. I can remember you wiped the floor, and then you beat me in
How do you have such a good memory?
in that place, the Big Slick.
Big Slick. Oh,
Yeah, because I lost really badly. And then I remember we drew in Scarborough, and I remember that was painful because that was stalemate that you unleashed from nowhere, and I was winning, and I would have gotten I am Norm, and I was like, oh, Simon, I hate you.
It's a bit aggressive.
But the last game we actually played was at the British in Torquay, and there I think I was very lucky to survive. Yeah, it's funny because here we're actually in disagreement because I feel like the playing style doesn't match your personality. I know some quiet people who are just lethal on the board. But I would say Simon's style is very intuitive. He's an aggressive player. He's also incredibly creative and a real maverick of the game. And I remember like one of the stories that I had from that very first commentary gig that we did together was that all my friends are like, oh my God, we've had enough of Simon pushing Harry the H pawn. And I was like, yeah, don't worry. Me with my positional style is going to neutralize that Noan. And I kid you not, it was such a good idea. Whenever he suggested H4, I was like, damn, that's good. And by the end of it, I was just a convert.
Yeah, and I think personality like matches quite often your chess style. And that's not always the case. I mean, Jovanka's chess style, I would say, is fairly positional, quite principled. Jovanka's a very principled person, great person, I should say. And it's like based on building the center up, based on then developing that into some kind of attack, some kind of advantage. So good principles, good foundation, and leading to exciting things. And also a very good attacker, as I found out when I got checkmated. So good at all parts of the game. So a good all-rounder and just very natural and talented player.
Thank you, Simon.
I would say there definitely is.
There is.
100%. And I would say it sort of probably started in the 70s, something like that, end of 70s. I don't know if you'd agree.
Yeah, totally. And I would say that it's mainly based on tricky openings, actually, you know. A lot of the English players, British players have developed systems like the Barry attack. I love the name Barry attack. It's to do with the fact that any Tom, Dick and Barry can play this opening and can win. And then when of course there was Julian Hodgson, I remember in the 80s that he was beating everyone with a Trompovsky.
Yeah, I mean, I think at one point England was sort of number 2, 3 in the world. Probably the end of the 70s, start of the 80s. And we had just some names that are quite famous. You had like Spielman, who got to the semi-final of the World Championships. He was a crazy player. And he certainly did look a bit like the way he played chess, like a crazy professor, but a brilliant, brilliant player. And his style was very tricky, but really maverick, different openings. He came up with the English defence, it was called, along with people like Raymond Keane, even you could say Danny King, and there was lots of players like that. So I would say, the English school was probably like home learned. So we didn't really have trainers, like people learned on their own. And it was very, I would say very sort of maverick, but also very creative, interesting style. Basman, you had all these people thrown in the mix who drew with Botvinnik when Botvinnik was world champion.
We had a lot of strong juniors around the 70s and the 80s, and we won the silver medal in the 1986 Olympiad. And one of the things that I later found out was that I've always thought of the British School of Chess as very much independent, you know, it's been very much lone wolves, but actually, in fact, they were studying together, they were sharing ideas, and somehow or other in the 90s it stopped. And now it is what it is today. There's a kind of split between the British School of Chess, though. You have those kind of mathematicians, scientific types who are very much all about the principles, about working everything out to their conclusion. And then you have the creative types who are really just very practical street fighters almost. And
Yeah, I mean, we should
Very good
also
players.
mention, Britain's first ever Grandmaster, Tony Miles. I mean, he was probably in both camps.
Yeah.
He was a very creative player. But he started off his chess career, Britain's first ever Grandmaster, as doing quite a lot of theory. But then as chess openings developed, he got sick of it all and he kind of went his own way, which a lot of other players did. They followed him as well
Yeah.
in Britain. But yeah, we had some really interesting characters anyway in chess. Not so many anymore, I think it's fair to say, unfortunately. But yeah.
Well, I kind of think that we do have a very promising future. And now that the government has actually decided to put some investment into our international players, then I'm a bit more hopeful about the future.
More hopeful than me.
It's funny because I now live in Norway, so I have that as a comparative benchmark. And in Norway, chess has really taken a foothold in the public. Like, for instance, I mean, I've told this story many times before, but it's still pretty shocking. I can go to the hairdressers in Norway and they know who Magnus is. They've been following his progress.
Can I just compare that to a story? When I go to my hairdressers in England, I'm known as the Ginger Wizard, like because I've told him I'm a Grandmaster, and he just laughs at me. He said, "You're not still doing that stupid game chess, are you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm still doing," and he calls me the Ginger Wizard. So that is quite a big difference.
Yeah, right.
It's like chess. It's like, so it's
yeah.
yeah.
But it is getting better though, because now these days when I tell people, I'm a chess commentator, everyone is like, "Oh, they follow chess. They follow Hikaru."
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think it's getting better. Certainly, I think it's the changing of opinion that it's quite a cool game actually, and it's really exciting. It's a very positive game. It can teach people many different things, and it's a lot of fun as well. I think it did have that kind of very geekish kind of look, which is not necessarily bad, but it's not completely like that as well. And with stuff like the Queen's Gambit, it's changed the opinion of it. And other things that come along, anal beads up the bottom, that kind of stuff has made it kind of seem a bit cooler for whatever reason. Don't know. Jovanka seems to have some experience with that. I'm joking.
Simon.
This is the kind of stuff I do just to put you back off. I know she does. I'm joking. All right, calm down. Okay. Right, sorry, Jovanka. I'll take it back. I need the fan on again now. Going a bit hot here.
Well, there's different types of jobs these days, because I remember when I was younger that it was just playing chess and that was it. You either were an amateur or you were a professional. And if you were a professional, you were traveling out of a suitcase, you were just traveling around the circuit, trying to earn as much money as you can. And now chess has become this like completely different creature. You have the online world where people are playing online chess, you have streamers, you have now chess commentary. This wasn't such a big thing, I would say even like 2015, like when I started, there were only maybe a few really professional commentators.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember going to the World Championship match between Nigel Short and Garry Kasparov in 2003 in London. Went along with my dad to watch that, and the commentators were sort of spaced out around the auditorium, and they also, you had earpieces, and that was one of the first times that they had some commentary like that. But with technology advancing, it's incredible how lucky actually people are nowadays to get commentary, because you just never had streaming commentary, YouTube, all these extra ways to sort of communicate information, which you have now.
Yeah.
I mean, it comes at a bit of a cost, because to actually play chess, it's a lot harder, I'd say, because you need, the access to information is much higher than it used to be, which I don't like as much, because it relies more on memory, I'd say, but pros and cons.
Yeah, definitely pros and cons, I mean, that's probably why we're seeing so many young grandmasters. We're seeing grandmasters just achieve a title when they're 12, which sounds absolutely weird to me. But one of the cons that I would say is that with the rise of computers, everyone can kind of take a critical look at grandmasters play, or even anyone play, and they can be very, very critical. I'm just trying to be diplomatic here. And I think that that's not really fair. I think you've got to think about players playing in a competitive setting. You've got to understand the psychology, the pressure. And I think with computers, you lose that a little bit.
Yeah, you do. I mean, it's changing so much. Like, I mean, you know, and it's developing at an incredibly fast rate, like everything else with technology. But it's exciting as well. I mean, everyone has opportunities now.
Yeah.
Even if you're not actually the people who are making probably the most, if you want to put it down to cash, are probably not some of the professional players now. They're, you know, well, I say the top players, the higher rated players. It's if you can stream, if you can have some charisma, then that helps a lot, you know, as well. So it's good and bad, I think, personally, but good because we wouldn't be here otherwise, really. So yeah, it's great.
It is good. I think it is only
It's good.
It's very good. And I love the fact that chess is now being opened up to everyone.
Yeah.
That's one of the great things. Before it felt, like Simon said, a bit geeky, felt like you had to be like this big intellectual to play the game. And now everyone's realizing, yeah, hey, I can play it.
I feel like cheating is a major thing, and it's not just cheating; it's the paranoia around cheating. Because you can see this recently with the likes of ex-world champion Kramnik. You know, to mention a name, that he's being very paranoid, understandably, I should say, about people cheating against him. And it's a real shame, though, because if you could have no cheating online, it would be the most popular, I think, best game in the world, because it's anyone can play, any age, anywhere, the same game, same setting. You don't need to get golf clubs out. You can just play. But this cheating is a real scourge of the game. And the only thing I'd say is I think there should be stricter, personally, stricter and wider implications for those people who have been caught cheating online. So if they're caught cheating online, I think they should be banned for a period of time offline at least. But
I completely agree with that. I think there should be a stronger deterrent, because at the minute, I mean, I've seen people kind of comparing cheating online to cheating on your homework. And they're like, well, you know, it's kind of a minor thing. No, it's not a minor thing. I've had people cheat against me online, and it hurts, especially people that you think are friends or people that you know, they do it against you. And you just think, why? I mean, you're just ruining the game. You're just ruining the whole point, which is to test your wits.
It takes money away from people.
Exactly.
It takes opportunities away from people. It's really bad. You know, it's like stealing from someone in a certain way. And I think it's, you know, not treated seriously enough. That, you know, if someone is caught cheating or has really strong evidence, I mean, that's the problem, though. You have to make sure they are cheating, but they should be stronger.
Yeah, I mean, the big problem, though, with cheating is that if you cheat smartly, like obviously if you're going to cheat every single move, you're going to get found out very quickly. But if you cheat in a kind of subtle way, like only on certain occasions, then this is very difficult to detect. But I really do hope that more will be done to eliminate this problem.
It is quite different era, again, because they're both fantastic players. I mean, in my opinion, the two best chess players ever. I mean, I think most people think that as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah.
I mean, at the time, Kasparov, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not putting him down at all, but he had a brilliant team behind him, and his openings were so strong because of the help of him and his team. And that gave him quite a bit of an advantage over his players, which I'd say Magnus Carlsen doesn't have, because he has great opening knowledge, but not an advantage in the opening over his players. So, I mean, but that's just one small observation. I mean, Kasparov was so exciting to watch. I mean, he was such a great aggressive player, really fun chess, always going for the attack, and real personality. And I guess chess has changed, that Magnus is more like he's had to change with the times. It's harder to attack in chess nowadays.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know. I completely agree with you there, Simon. You know, because when you think back to Kasparov, you know, money begets money. You know, it was just all about the seconds. And obviously, that's not taken away from Kasparov, because he had a massive work ethic. You know, he was working every single day, every single hour. But with the rise of computers, Magnus has had to scratch and dig under the surface and actually just think of ways to actually be better than the rest. But having said that, there's one thing that there is a big difference between the two of them, and that Kasparov was constantly pushed by Karpov in the 80s. Magnus really hasn't had that rivalry with anyone.
No, I mean, I think it's a testament to Magnus how good he is, that he has won everything. He's been at the top of like, chess for a long time now. He hasn't had that competition, but the standard of chess has got higher. I mean, since Kasparov's day, it just has, and he's kept on top of that. Even though at the top of the pyramid, you could say there's less. There's less room for wriggle. But yeah, I mean, they're both brilliant world champions, so it's very hard to compare them, I think, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally different. And also, just one point I wanted to make is that chess, the style, when it comes to chess, the style has changed these days, because when Kasparov was playing, Karpov was playing, they were really basing their game on classical principles. Now with computers, it's not necessarily about classical principles. It's about moves, it's about calculation, and people are willing to play ugly chess. But they get away with it because the computer has confirmed things. And just by training with computers, you've developed this new style of play. And somehow Magnus, and again, it's a testament to his genius, has managed to combine that with also the old school principles. I personally really enjoy commenting on the games of Ivanchuk. His games are so creative, so ingenious that you just feel like you're taken to another planet, another level. I also pretty like commentating on Magnus's games. He's so intelligent with his moves, and I'm constantly trying to predict what he's going to be doing. And when I succeed, I feel like I've been successful at something I call chess bingo. I'm like, yes, got it right. We're on the same page. Sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the same. Bit of a cliche, but Magnus is always great to watch because he's one guy that everyone can learn from. I mean, and a lot of the other players, their opening styles, it's kind of just, you can see it's memorizing and working with a computer, and it's a bit boring sometimes. They play like 20 moves, and then they play a move which they've put on the computer, and you can see that in their play. But with Magnus, he will often play a move which is not the best move, but to get a unique position. So his approach is really interesting. And another player, I mean, I could say nowadays, I mean, any of the young guys, it's always quite fun. I mean, we have Nojbek here, and I think he's very exciting to watch because he plays lots of interesting openings as well. So yeah, so maybe those two for me.
Well, chess is a perfect game. No, I actually would change the stalemate rule. That's annoying. I mean, it's pointless. But I understand that would actually probably change things too much. What about you?
I mean, if there was a way to get rid of the draw rule, I'd love to do that. I mean, maybe every game should have an Armageddon afterwards if it's a draw. That will make it more exciting. I mean, I know draws are a very important part of the game, but I kind of like to get rid of them as well. So
Williams, Houska, Jersey. I'm sorry, Simon. I cannot resist. Actually, it wasn't that game, but anyway, it was too
good game. It was a good game. Not for me, by the way. It was a good game for Jovanka. Yeah, he played very well. Crushed me. Yeah, that certainly wasn't my most memorable game. But yeah, that was very, very well played. Yeah. I don't know, like for me, games that don't know, there's probably a couple, but it's probably not even like victories maybe against like well-known players. It's some interesting game that I had which was really fun to analyze, and there was some crazy stuff going on, and I had one game in a French league against 2300, which was just a fascinating game. So yeah, I mean, probably that would be my favorite game.
Simon, you played so many beautiful games.
Well, I've had some all right games, yeah, but that's too hard to pick one. So, yeah, that's why.
I remember the Amsterdam game. That was nearly one game, or did it win Game of the Year?
When it wasn't Magic Mushrooms. Yeah, I can kind of remember that game as well. But yeah, it was a good game.
And also just now you played in the play-ins, and you had this amazing ending. Simon's too modest.
Yeah.
He's played a lot of good games.
I would say like Blitz, 3-minute chess, probably 5 minutes each, no increment.
I think 1.5 hours. I'm a bit slower.
I do like the classical chess as well, I have to say. So I do like the longer games as well.
But no
I hate
move You know, no
Get
extra
used to it.
time, no extra time
I'm
after being
with you.
40.
Yeah, which is no increment at
No
all.
increment. Yeah,
Rubbish
1.5
idea.
hours.
Came up with that's
That's
an
it.
idiot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the Dutch opening for me, Dutch defense. Yeah. We could have answered that for one person.
One could have answered that one for me.
Too many. Well, I do like a White Russian. I like beer as well, strong beer, and strong cider. God, I sound like a right alky. Any of them, and you'll be doing well.
Yeah, so I was a kind of Cosmo girl until I started working here. And now I can tell you it's the Lasker or it's the Botvinnik. Those two drinks are amazing. I've been drinking them every night. Can't help myself. Too good.
They are really good, to say. Really good. Yeah, definitely. I did try making the White Russian down here, and it was didn't really enjoy it though.
Did you stay awake though all the night because you forgot?
I did, yeah. Made it with too much caffeine, so that's why. But my favourite drink, I quite like making a nice tea from the garden where I cut the mint fresh and I get a lemon from, I've got a lemon tree. So yeah, that's my favourite drink to make.
Yeah, I kind of like that idea, just making tea. Yeah, I've really gotten into making chai lattes from scratch, you know, just making the herbs and just letting it brew for 15 minutes. But yeah, when it comes to alcohol, I'm kind of a sailor at heart. I'm just drinking the strong stuff.
I like playing in Iceland. I love it over there. So Iceland and also Norway. I like playing in the pub in Norway. And yeah, it's even fun playing down here as well. So the club here is great.
Oh, it's going to sound really bad what I'm going to say, but yes, I should be honest, shouldn't I? Anywhere with good food. And I once played a tournament because I had the most amazing cake ever. Jersey, by the way.
There you go.
And I even hired a car to drive to this garden centre which had that fabulous cake. So that is how seriously I take my food.
And the food here is excellent.
The food is really good here, so you know.
So you're doing well. You're doing well. Keep the food coming. Of all time, probably ex-world champion Mikhail Tal, because he was a crazy attacker and came up with some really funky stuff. So.
Yeah, for me, it just has to go back to my childhood. It was like Kasparov, because, you know, I grew up watching his games. I grew up on those battles between him and Karpov, and the whole family used to follow along. And in those days, it was like teletext. And so we would like play out the board, play out the games on a board with the whole family watching. And I kind of have that longing to go back to that kind of time. So yeah, Kasparov it is. And also I have to agree with Wesley. For me, it was very important that Kasparov had the longer surname than Karpov.
I don't understand that at all. But like,
well, they have a really similar surname, right?
Isn't Wesley pretty screwed there then, considering his surname is 2 letters? That's his idea. You've got to have a long
when
surname.
you're a kid, like literally, you're thinking about weird things, and I would like, oh my god, these two people have like similar surnames.
A long surname means you're a stronger chess player.
No, because Kasparov, Karpov, you know, very similar. So which one are you going to go for? You either go for the longer one, right? Because Kasparov.
Go for the shorter one because it's easier to write.
Yeah, I like just a confession that I love it when like there's two players called a Copian and a Copian, and I'm like, which letter is triumphant, the B or the P? I'm weird like that.
I like both, but probably playing actually. Yeah, it's like my passion from always. Yeah, unless I'm commentating with Jovanka, then it's obviously commentating.
That's
in fact, if I'm working with Jovanka, always commentating. But if Jovanka's not available, playing.
I'll go along with that one. Yeah. Stream chess, because it's so much fun. I don't do it often, but when I do, I get this real rush. It's a bit weird, you know. When I see the people just commenting, I'm like, oh, hello, and I get a bit manic. So yeah, I'm excited by that. Watching streams, yeah, they can be entertaining, but a part of me has that feeling that I should go outside and do something.
Yeah, no, definitely streaming chess. I find watching most streams really boring, actually, unless they're really good people. And there's not many, for me, great streamers around, so definitely streaming. Oh. That's a tricky one. Wow, I don't know. What would I be doing? God, probably working on the road somewhere. I don't know. I don't know. I've no idea. I've no idea what
That's
I'd be doing.
that's the thing, you know.
Who knows? Because you kind of fall into life in general, and you take a path, and you don't always know where that path's going to end up. And had chess not been around, and chess has kind of saved me quite a lot. I mean, it's given me a lot of purpose and a lot of like, sort of meaning. So I have no idea what I'd be doing without chess. So chess has been fantastic for me, definitely.
Yeah, chess is a big part of my identity. You know, I've been playing the game since I was a really young kid. And, you know, you grow up being good at this game and then to suddenly just walk away from that. And I don't know what I would be doing. I don't know what talents I have in life other than chess and talking about chess.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe
Who
I
knows?
would, I don't know.
Just have to leave that one for the viewers, I guess. Yeah, be interesting to see what they come up with. Pirate, maybe. I'll make a damn
Viking.
good pirate.
A Viking.
A Viking pirate. A harder, my hearties.
with where is
You can
my
come
woman?
along. You can come along with your rum, your bottle of rum. Oh yeah,
A cleaved head tells no tales.
that's the one. So I'd be a pirate. Yes, a pirate.
A pirate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I would be.
No, you'd be stocking the alcohol on my boat. The pirate
I'm
wench.
happy with that.
Sorry.
My wench, the wench.
Pirate wench.
Oh,
Sorry.
the conversation took a funny turn.
Very weird turn there. So yeah. It's a hard question.
It's a hard question.
I've never ever thought about that. So I don't know. Maybe just that, you know, chess can be fun. It's accessible to everyone, and you know, it should be a fun pursuit that anyone can play at any age. You know, any religion, and yeah. I mean, I guess you got to enjoy it really, and play in your own style as well. Try to not copy what everyone else does, but be unique and come up with your own ideas. That's something which I think is important.
Yeah, I think the message that I would love to leave the chess world is that chess doesn't have to be so competition based and also so kind of introverted, you know. And I know concentration and calculation has its own merits, but for me, it would be just to nurture the concept of it being a social game, a game that you pass on to your future generations, that you discuss. You know, I was doing some talk with some businesswomen who had never played chess in their lives, and it was amazing just to hear them compare strategies. And I thought that's really what's missing a little bit in the chess world, this conversation, this chat, this banter.